Hi, my name is Grant Schmidt, and I'm going to be doing a quick review of a holster I just got in. Holsters from a local gentleman who I had the pleasure of doing some house of worship training with at their house of worship in Philadelphia. Great guy. Information is below. It's very important to have a local holster maker, and he was kind enough to send this to me. All right, some serious specs. So this is for a Glock 19, and already I'm pretty excited about it for a few things I can see right off the bat. So there you go, Polar Bear Armz. All right, so some things I noticed off the bat. We have a sweat guard, which is really cool. The molding is very much contoured to a Glock 19. You can even see the serrations on the slide. What I really like is we have attachment points for any number of attachments, and he sort of read my mind. What I want from a holster company is the ability to mount multiple different types of attachments and tuckable, which is fantastic, and then also over the belt. So these are two kinds. So you have the thicker one, you have this, and then I can also take this off. I can mount it lower, or I can mount it here if I wanted a cant, and I wanted sort of a, I guess this would be raised off the belt, and then I can lower it so I can have like a deeper insertion into my pants, or I can have it sort of raised so it's easier to get access to. And then this guy I would mount up here. Again, that's just fantastic. That's exactly what I want. I want the tuckable. So what's interesting is when I reached out to him, or he reached out to me, you know, he just said, you know, what do you want? And I said Glock 19, and he said okay, and that was sort of the end of our conversation. And in doing so, he kind of read my mind. I didn't have to tell him what specifications I wanted. He just sort of read my mind. Going further, all my barrels now are becoming increasingly threaded, so it's the muzzle actually extends past the slide, and so for some holsters they crimp it here, and then I can't use it when I swap out my barrel for a threaded barrel. Or in ShotTech's case, we use modified firearms to make them into laser training devices. So the laser module of that laser training device firearm actually extends past the slide as well. So for example, when we're using a Glock 17 in the training, I'm actually going to make it a Glock 19. So that way, in an ALS style holster where it has the plug at the bottom, it's not jamming that plug into the laser module extending out of the barrel. I see that. You got two mounting options, which are really great. So I can mount this guy here using these holes here. That's fantastic. I'll be able to use the existing screws. Two sets of screws we have. So these are going to be your retention screws here with the rubber stopper between them. That's fantastic because I do like to adjust my fitment. If it's like, let's say, competition based, I want sort of less fitment. If it's for duty based, I want more fitment. But too much retention can be a bad thing. So we're going to test that out in a little bit. But the two mounting options is fantastic because sometimes I want the simplicity of this mount, which goes right over the belt. And then sometimes I want this one for deep concealment, and it's also tuckable. So I can tuck my pants in, and that just helps conceal the holster a lot better. So this I would use with more casual option if I'm not worried as printing as much or concealing the holster as much. Again, you can't print the gun and the holster, but there's nothing wrong with having a clip on your belt unless you're in a social setting where someone might draw attention to it. But in terms of the legality of it, you know, we can't print the gun, but there's nothing wrong with having a clip on your belt, unless it's socially or fashionably a faux pas. That's why I like having both options. Phillips head as opposed to Allen keys, that's a big deal with me. It's a little detail work. So you can tell there's a lot of details here, even though it looks like a simple holster, a lot of detail work here. Phillips heads, fantastic. It's just easier to work with. I'll always have a Phillips head on me, but am I going to have a whole set of Allen keys to work with? No. For a lot of holsters, I now have to carry a set of Allen keys with me, and that's a giant pain. One of the biggest holster companies, Alien Gear, recognized that, and they actually fit the wrench into the holster. They kind of hide the wrench into the holster. But again, that's just adding to the bulk and the weight of the holster and sort of the complexity of it. So this is a very simple but very effective. So you can also see that this portion of the holster here is extended. That's going to help push the holster away from my body. That's a really nice feature, that bubble feature. And then, of course, your screw backers are going to go back there. These are for retention, great. I covered this. You'll notice these are rounded and these are flush fit. Another excellent feature. So here we have a Glock 19. I've swapped that out with a DeVortech innards, so barrel and spring and laser module. So that's one of the things we do with Shot Tech, is we're constantly focusing on dry practice in our firearms instruction. So with a holster like this, I was very excited about it, and I was really hoping it wouldn't clamshell at the top. This allows us to use a threaded barrel, which is a good idea, especially if you're running suppressors or things like that. Just that kind of detail work. And then there you see my laser module for our simulations work. The laser module and DeVortech spring and such is going to extend past the holster. That's fantastic. Some people will go with Glock 17 holsters when they have to have threaded barrels and things like that, when they're stuck with companies that clamshell the front. I don't want to do that. I want to have a Glock 19 holster for a Glock 19, and I want it to be open like it is. So that's a big deal for me. Plus sweat, moisture, all that stuff, it's going to come out the bottom. So if you got rained on and you got soaked, all that moisture is going to start from the top and go to the bottom. Already I can tell I like the fitment of it. You have a slightly audible click. Some holster companies like Safariland, they're known for it. They actually want the big audible level 4 retention click so that you can always hear that pop in, pop out. For concealed carry work, I really don't want that big audible click. So you hear two sounds. You hear the pop, and then you hear the pop out, right? Ooh, and I can actually do that kind of silently. That's really nice. But if you want that sound, you also got it with this holster. So that's a big plus right there. Some holsters, it's one or the other, and it's that kind of detail work I like. And that's also why I don't do leather holsters. One, because the form breaks down and they break in and they break out over time. But Kydex, you get the sound when you want it. In good Kydex holsters, you get the sound when you don't. So this is great. So if I had to do a slow draw for whatever reason, I could, and I wouldn't be going pop in, pop out. So this is kind of everything I want in a holster. You can also see big open portion for raised suppressor height sights. So I don't have suppressor height sights, but you can see that there's room for that. So if I had to go with a one holster for a Glock 19, this would pretty much be it from Polar Bear Armz. And I can say that with confidence because I know exactly what I want from years and many big bags of extra holsters. And I keep all those bad holsters. One, because as a firearms instructor, I want to show people what makes a holster good and what makes a holster bad. And this, I'm just really enjoying this. That's fantastic. So I'm not going to make any fitment adjustments on the retention here. And you can see I can give this a really good shake, and it's not slipping, it's not coming out. This is fantastic. So my only other critique would be, one, mark this holster. I want Polar Bear Armz to be marked on this holster somehow. And then the other critique is that I look forward to Polar Bear Armz coming out with some sort of light bearing option for their holsters as well, because all my guns now run typically the Streamlight run. So they'll either do the TLR1 or TLR6. TLR1 if it has rails and is a larger size firearm, or a TLR6 if it's a smaller, compact or smaller firearm. So this is everything I want in this holster. I'm definitely going to use this a lot. This is fantastic. My critiques are minimal. My critiques are only brand the holster, but this sticker is going on to my computer or my toolbox. Polar Bear Armz, thank you so much for sending this to me. This is a glowing review from me. So as a quick follow-up, I liked the holster so much that I ended up getting another for my new SIG 320. We have a recoil-enabled kit for the SIG 320 for our simulation services. So I'm now sporting this, and with our Glock 19s actually wearing on the firing pins with the pneumatic recoil-enabled simulation system, I decided to start running a 320 as my personal everyday carry. So, all right. So I got this open. We got the SIG 320 holster inside from Polar Bear Armz. What? What is this? This is so cool. I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I got to ask him about that. That is now going to be in every single one of my videos. Oh, is that Skydex? That's so cool. Wow. And here's our So there's our invoice. So $40, and it gets me this holster, which I'm super excited about. So I did tell him I really wanted the open face. I really like that. I'm curious. No, I don't think I would be able to have a larger slide SIG 320 in this holster. But yeah, that retention is really great. And I could tighten that up if I wanted to. I don't know if I will though. So you got some wiggle in there, which is fine. But this is awesome. This is awesome. Oh, I can just tighten that up here. So really cool. So I asked for this one this time because I did take an Alien Gear holster, which has 2 prongs here and here. So that's sort of my everyday carry if I want to go full Monty and have the most concealment. But if I just want to throw the gun on and off, it's a pain to have the 2 prong system. So I go with a quick clip system here. This is really cool. And so I got this color because one, it matches the gun, but also because it sort of matches my skin color. So in the future, I'm going to start to do holsters that aren't black and instead sort of match my body tone, both for guns and for holsters. But yeah, super cool. So Polar Bear Armz, thank you so much. This is so cool, and I'm super excited to be ordering holsters from you in the future. Yeah, so great review, great product. I'm looking forward to using it, and there you go.